the story. He hadn't told me about it yet. This doesn't look like any training drill we've seen before. It's definitely for domestic operations. And I said, well, I believe you. I'm an expert on these domestic operations. You're an expert on the Army, being a retired staff sergeant with tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. You have these sources. But let's not say that we're sure it looks like it's domestic. Let's just say it should be investigated. He comes in. We talk for 10 minutes. DrudgeReport.com links to it in like an hour. The Army comes out and says, this drill isn't even real. It's probably fake documents.
Yeah, where do these documents even come from?
Yeah, so at first, we're making stuff up.
Yeah, exactly.
At first, it just doesn't exist. Then they come out 2 days later, we hate the military.
Yeah.
And they have all these new lies.
And then I'm a supposed veteran.
That's right, even though you've been in the Army Times bunch of articles.
Yeah.
So all of this PSYOP goes on. We're going, whoa, we hit on something big here. Why are they freaking out? We cover military drills all the time. Every week there's some new footage of the Army, the Marines, the National Guard, training to take on veterans, gun owners. There's new footage today. I shot footage in 99 when Clinton had this going on, but it was much lower level, much rarer.
Yeah.
Now it's ramped up 10, 20, 30 times. I mean, it's just exponential. And we're going to play that old footage and the new footage coming up here in a moment that we haven't gotten to yet. Again, for radio listeners, you can see the video at Infowars.com. We have it posted, red linked video. Marines practice subduing citizens inside internment camp. Again, Infowars.com for war on, for your mind. Now, expanding on that situation, Joe has been working since yesterday and came in. He said, hey, I know you want me on about my interchanges with Eric Bolling, who came out a few months ago and said we need militarized police. In a Fox clip we played, not satire, Fox calls for over-militarized police. That was in January. Mm-hmm. He's saying he wants to meet me in a parking lot. He's saying we're full of it. I was just going to, and he goes, I don't really want to get into that. What you need to know is I'm working on a story. I've gotten the guy's military ID. I've gotten photos. I'm getting authorization to post all this, not his ID, but the other intel. We're double-checking to make sure none of it's classified because, even if it's unconstitutional what they're doing, classified stuff, they'll try to throw you in jail. And sometimes we go ahead and put that out, even though they could come after us, because we morally know that it'll make them look so bad to come after us that we may just want to force that issue.
Yeah, exactly.
But Joe has major breaking news on Jade Helm. Now, we've dug up that mastering the human domain goes to these major training operations that are joint forces to dominate America, but the rest of the world, to run human operations, to learn how to take over local government and to, quote, stabilize it. We have all these new documents coming out we covered yesterday that I'm going to go over where they admit that this is about domestic operations, and the commander of it has been the one for Northcom, not just Southcom and CENTCOM, preparing for stabilization of the country. They don't call it martial law. So there's this massive exponential ramping up. Then we get him saying in earlier speeches, this Meade character that's running it all, the civilian that the colonels and people take orders from publicly, they turn to ask how high they should jump. He says, yeah, we're going to be doing suspicious things on the street out of uniform. Then they come to Bastrop a month later and say, no, we're not.
Exactly.
We never said that. You're a conspiracy theorist.
And it's right there in the slides that they denied and then had to come back and say, well, yes, these are in fact the slides.
So we have this exactly, and I'm going to give you the floor in a moment. We have this whole background going on. And the media, 200 to 500 articles a day saying we're liars. I mean, I've never seen anything like this on any subject. I mean, this is a major global firestorm. It's all over the news worldwide. It's causing a debate about militarization of police. Why are troops on the street in England, in Europe, in Australia? This is a global gear up for something. World War III, financial collapse, nuclear terror, I don't know. But let me tell you, folks, it's like when Germany was lining up troops in 1939 on the Polish border, and the Poles kept saying they're getting ready to invade. Everybody's like, oh, no, they're not. Don't be conspiracy theorists. This is a major buildup. And in war, you look for truth movements. You look for what they're training to fight, because then you know what their mission is going to be. It's us, the American people. They train for how they're going to fight. Now, Joe comes in here with stuff even bigger than Marines practice subduing citizens inside internment camp. We're going to get to that in a moment. Joe has just bombshell info, former Staff Sergeant, U.S. Army. He vetted this guy that's currently in, that's so freaked out, he's just considering walking off. And believe me, that's going to happen big time if they try this. Joe, there's a chance, even though this guy's real, that they could be trying to stir us up to hoax us so that then when they don't do it, it makes us look bad. But it doesn't matter. We help stop it. Or they could be testing, which they've done before, to see if the special forces will do this. We know they use live ammo in Miami years ago. That was in the Miami Herald. We know they used it in other cities, so it could just be that. But regardless, this fellow has never seen anything like this. Tell folks the information you've been documenting.
So yesterday, I'd say around 6 p.m. our time, Central Time, I got an email from an Oath Keeper that I know saying that, hey, man, this guy just came to me with some really scary information. I'm going to take screenshots of this stuff, send it to you. So he sends me this, email, and I'm looking, I'm like, there's no way this can be true what I'm reading right now. We've got to vet this guy. Can you get him in contact with me and tell him I need a copy of his military ID so I can at least get that part going so I can make sure this guy is who he is? He tells me what his MOS is. It's a 15 Sierra. That's a OH-58 repair, and that is a Kiowa helicopter that we use in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's little small birds. We call them little birds. It just holds 2 guys. And he gets me the ID to him. I'm like, all right. And I ask him a few questions. Seems legit. And what he's telling me is that he is so freaked out because what they're doing, he said they were loading live ammunition on these Kiowa helicopters, and these are going to be specifically used for Jade Helm.
And they're already loading them.
Yes. And like I said, I didn't go to this guy. I didn't seek this person out. This person reached out, and I was put in contact with him, and I'm currently vetting and trying to find out more information if I can get some pictures and video to go along with this. So
you said you did get a photo, though, of the...
I've got the photo of his ID, his military ID.
And the helicopter.
And a helicopter, yeah. So
now, for those that don't know, that's another helicopter they're trying to get out of the military that Special Forces says is the best.
That's phenomenal.
They're also trying to kill the Warthog that is the best. Describe the battles you've been in with these weapon systems, what they do, close air support, and then what this signifies.
Yeah, when I was at BSP-7, it's a little border security point area on the border of Pakistan, and it's the main supply route for the Taliban. They would come in and out through there. We would set up ambushes. We were 20-plus miles away from any kind of convoy support whatsoever, so we, mainly had to rely on these Kiowa helicopters to fly in really quick. They're small, they're maneuverable, they shoot 50 caliber ammunition, Hellfire missiles, and then also the Warthogs as well. We had to wait on them to get in the racetrack where they spin around above you. You can hear them going, overhead, and then they drop in and do these gun runs. No problems whatsoever. Phenomenal aircraft, both the Kiowa and that. And for some reason, our military wants to get rid of those things and put in these more expensive jets that are failing and not, working as well.
They want to have $100 million jets that are total pieces of junk because the military industrial complex wants to make money.
Yeah.